All right, let's do it. The first thing I want to talk about, it is Nick Rekieta, okay? This is, once again, a guy who I've been aware of for many years, honestly, probably over 5 years. I've known that he vaguely basically covers court cases. He is, from what I understand, a lawyer, right? I never got, like, horrendous vibes from him. I definitely got a little bit of strange vibes from him. I remember sometimes checking in on his streams, whatever. It just reminded me, it was like a kind of like almost like a boomer, a boomer kind of just chilling. And he got a lot of super chats, a lot of love. Especially I remember he had a couple golden eras where he was just getting a ton of support. And I've never really thought about him that much throughout the last probably 3 or 4 years until I saw at this point the infamous live stream clip, I guess you could say. Well, basically, seemingly, what 5 years of coke and alcohol abuse will do to him, along with God knows what else. And so, I'm not here to revel in anybody's downfall, but I do think that in light of Tumad's death, seeing cases like this where basically, drug or alcohol abuse, as well as, a lot of poor decision making, lead to a content creator having a very clear, physical or mental decline, I think it's worth talking about. Okay, not necessarily making fun of them, but just trying to get a feel for what exactly went down. Because at the end of the day, in my mind, these are kind of the lessons of our time in a way, right? And yeah, it's best, I think, to face them, learn from them, and see what happened, I guess. So let's see. Reports are saying that Rekieta Law was arrested for drug possession. This is just a few days after a concerning clip of his went viral. We are going to watch the clip, okay? But long story short, it's seeming like this guy's life is falling apart, okay? Pretty bad. Yes, the clip, the infamous clip, whatever. I'm pretty sure it's like, I have no clue the context, but he's like totally twacked, and he comes and sits down, and he just starts off or something. Okay, well, Jesus Christ. So this is the clip. So here we go. This is I don't know about, it's not a time lapse, but him basically a couple years ago, contrasted by him at his worst point, which was just earlier this week. So here we go.
It's not a good choice.
Holy shit, my bad. This was literally 1 year ago. This was 1 year ago. Holy shit. This guy's had a really rough year, if that's the case. Wow. And then this is him like a couple days ago. Blood is like completely twacked. It looks like he hasn't slept in like 4 days. And he's been off. And then I think he sees the camera right now. Okay.
Why is my camera so on?
Yeah, it was just, I don't understand that. I don't get the people talking about this clip, man. Like, this is just Wednesday for me. Yep, a lot of people have been memeing on him, and to an extent, it probably makes sense. Like, in the sense of his addiction has probably gotten worse over time, or something like that. His audience has probably clocked some kind of decline in him for a while. But yeah, that's a pretty, I don't know how the fuck that happens without being absolutely fucking blasted. Then this fucking happens. Jesus. Okay, Nick Rekieta has been arrested. It's like I said yesterday, he's crashing and people will cheerlead you to the bottom. I hope he gets his shit sorted and his kids are safe and this doesn't impact him having them. If he needs rehab and help, plenty of people will. Anyway, so apparently his wife, Jesus Christ, what a mess. His wife, and apparently like his girlfriend or some shit. Oh. But another woman, all three of them got arrested for possession of a firearm while having basically drugs. Okay, I don't know exactly how that happened. I don't know if he got swatted by a viewer or something, or a wellness check or something like that, but yeah. Someone said, Nick is my friend, so this is hard to see. A lot of us have been concerned and trying to help him for a while now. I hope this all gets resolved and he and his family are able to heal. I mean, that's, a respectful post, I guess. Damn, that Schedule 1 is the most disturbing to me. That category includes heroin. And with the Schedule 2 including fentanyl and coke, That's terrifying. The cocktail he could be potentially on. One of the OGs of kind of like, I don't know, a clone, I guess, of Angry Video Game Nerd to an extent. But I used to watch a ton of Irate Gamer. Like I really liked this guy. Now now he's like a ghost reviewer. It's actually kind of wild. But for some reason he's talking about Nick Rekieta. I don't know what the fuck he has to say.
And last night I ended up answering a question about a online personality. I guess his name is Nick Rekieta. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know who this guy is, but my reply ended up getting a lot of buzz. So I told everybody that I would do a video on this and kind of explain things in a little bit more detail. So they sent me some pictures of this guy back in like 2019 as compared to now. And if you see him back in 2019, he's very he looks full of life. He talks very well. And now his face is very gaunt. In his videos, I guess he slurs his words, on the verge of passing out from time to time, and people are like, what is going on with this guy? Because I guess he's an alcoholic. At one point he put a necklace on, and I guess there's some theories out there.
A fucking fan of his gifted him an original Chris Chan medallion, okay, which is like the gold Sonichu, you know what I mean, medallion. And Nick Rekieta put it on, and now people are saying that he was cursed basically by Chris Chan. L moment, but yep. Anyway, here's
is 25 years. Count one is second-degree possession, 25 grams or more of cocaine or methamphetamine. This is in violation of Minnesota Statute 152.022, subdivision 2, print A, print 1. The maximum sentence for that count is 25 years in prison and/or a $500,000 fine. Count 2 is possession of ammunition or any firearm with the user of controlled substances. This is a gross misdemeanor, so the maximum sentence is 364 days in the Kansas County Jail and/or a $3,000 fine.
Okay, so he's boned, effectively. Like he's definitely, well, he's probably not going to get that full sentence. I don't know. He could get maybe a few years, but I don't know. He's a lawyer, you know. Maybe he'll finesse it, but I don't know. Drama Alert's even reporting on it. Nick Rekieta is facing 25 years for child endangerment, possession of these narcotics, and a firearm possession, basically. And then he eventually made a statement right here. He said he posted, it's stated here that Nick Rekieta posted this and a new post about the news. So hey, obviously a lot has happened. I'm sorry. For legal purposes, it must be reiterated that the sorry is for the disruption and is in no way related to any pending legal matters. Thank you, Nick. That said, please realize that no one has the full story or picture on anything. It's possible no one ever will. Nothing reported is accurate, and that's not their fault. I've seen so many supportive messages. Thank you for that. I'll still be doing stuff. I'm home now. Stay tuned for show announcements and stuff here on Locals. Nick. What is going on with this guy's life? What the fuck is happening with this guy's life? I'm not gonna claim to know anything. Even he's saying, like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about, kind of. But yeah, I can't lie. It's interesting shit. It's curious. He says, I really wanted to go live tonight. I planned on doing Locals tonight. I really wanted to do the first stream aftermath gay bullshit. But I'm really not feeling it. I'm sorry. I'll do something tomorrow. Right now, I just am drained and fucking tired. Again, 1 million people will have a slew of opinions about me and everything. That's fine. They've earned it. They don't know the story. They can't. But they get their opinions, and I deserve my public lashings. Okay. I mean, if you're going to take it, bro. I ask people to focus on me and my failures and leave other people allegedly involved out of it. Respect. He's basically saying, don't involve my fucking family. When it's grifting time, I'll tell you shitty jail stories or the good parts about having your house searched stories. I want to be jovial and optimistic for those things, because they can be funny and self-deprecating. Tonight, I don't feel jovial. Peace, y'all. Talk soon. Damn, that was actually kind of a nice statement. I hope that this dude gets his fucking life together and sets a proper example for his kid. Anyway, that's pretty well the meat and potatoes of that situation. Now, I'm going to read chat, just see what you guys think about this real quick, and then maybe I'll go into a little bit of a rant about addiction. Because clearly Rekieta is like a guy who, on paper, had his fucking life together, was a lawyer. He was holding the glass of alcohol and saying, this doesn't control me, basically. And not looking to be the case, but hope this teaches him a lesson. Lacey, I heard Medicare, okay. It's possible, I hope he gets better. I hope it isn't, but addicts will do a lot for a fix. When you straight up look like something is going on, you can't exactly hide it anymore. Yeah. I sure hope it's not true. Yes, rant. Sounds like he's handling it well. I don't know that he's handling it well, but I'll say that, you know, what he is at least, that message is respectable to an extent, right? It's basically like, okay, guys, I don't feel like streaming, and probably the implication there is like, I gotta get my fucking life in order, and also please don't harass my family. Yeah, so in the case of Rekieta, look, I don't know the fucking guy personally. I'm not gonna claim to make any grand statement about him as a human, but when it comes to addiction, there is one topic that I guess I would talk about, and it is really the concept of cope. Okay, I've known people who have addictions. Most humans, by the way, have addictions. Okay, like, let's be clear. Okay, if you've ever tried to quit masturbating, you specifically, because I've never masturbated, but if you have, you know, okay, what it feels like, in theory, because I wouldn't know, to basically face immense fucking, what would you say, drive to, you know, seek pleasure or whatever the fuck. The point is basically is that there are addictions that are socially acceptable, okay? And there are addictions that are not socially acceptable. And at the end of the day, when it comes to addiction, the more socially unacceptable it is, the more people will try to hide it from others. And when you basically get to a point where you're kind of trying to hide an addiction, you start to really, like, your psychology just takes a fucking spin and a half, because you are, first of all, like, your famous Shakespeare quote, "Oh, what a tangled web we weave, when at first we practice to deceive." If you're an addict and you're trying to hide that, you're spinning a real damn complicated, tangled web, and eventually it will probably fall apart, and it will likely be because of an oversight caused by the thing you're addicted to. Does this make sense? And so what is like this is just something that like happens with people who are addicted, right? The biggest thing though, if you do have an addiction problem, right, is to try not to cope. Okay? What does that mean? It means acknowledge the fucking problem, okay? Don't fucking lie to yourself. And I understand that takes a lot of fun out of it. That makes it a lot less fun, you know? Because now it's like, oh, every time you do it, there's guilt associated with it. You know what I mean? It's not as carefree. It's actually a lot more sinister, but that's more honest. You get what I'm saying? The worst aspect of being addicted to something, especially something that really fucks up your life, okay? Because yes, caffeine is like a very, you know, productive addiction, whatever. There's many things like that. The worst aspect is two components. You lose trust in yourself and you lose control, okay? When you can't control yourself, as in you are basically compromised by external, desires that are just like literally they fucking control the way that you think, right? Because you need to like act on this desire, right? So it reorients your entire dopamine or like pleasure-seeking systems. You're compromised, okay? You have barely even power over yourself in that circumstance, okay? So you don't really have control over yourself, which is very, very fucking crippling. And it makes you not trust yourself, okay? And so I've kind of talked about my philosophy a little bit to you guys. I'm kind of, developing, refining it a little bit. It's not a fucking 100% original, whatever. But the point is that in my mind, right, obviously, you want to associate yourself in life with people whom you trust and whom you love. And ideally who respect you, okay? What does that mean? People you trust means that when you give them power over you, okay? Because that's how you develop trust, right? Trust is an act of faith, which means you have to give someone the potential to break your trust, right? So you need to give them a little bit of power over your life and see what they do with it. And if they use it against you, well, you can't trust them. But if they don't use it against you, well, slowly, the more power you give them, you realize, okay, I can trust this person, right? And someone who loves you, right? Someone who loves you will undermine, I shouldn't say undermine, but they will work to empower you, right? They will work to empower you at no obvious gain to themselves, no rational gain, meaning like, no like fucking prospect of really having a dividend or whatever necessarily, right? They'll just basically, they'll help to empower you, right? For the sake of just caring about you, right? So that's what you want, okay? And then respect. Respect, in my mind, you guys can kind of weigh in, but in my mind, you do obviously want, to hang out with people who respect you, right? And respect is earned largely, in my mind. Respect is essentially an acknowledgement of, your accomplishments, yeah, but more, it's like an acknowledgement of like your power, if that makes any sense. Like an acknowledgement of how much you are managing in your life, right? Like you don't want someone who's undermining your fucking achievements or who's like constantly trying to lil bro you, like in a really fucking weird way, you know what I mean? And so the point is basically is that when you're an addict, well, you can't trust yourself. It becomes really fucking hard to love yourself because you're actively undermining yourself by, basically like this thing that you're addicted to is fucking, potentially it can start destroying you. And it becomes really difficult to respect yourself. It just does, right? It's just how it works. Like eventually it just becomes a point where you realize that, again, if you acknowledge the problem, it's like there's shame involved, bro. And if it gets as bad as this fucking case where Nick Rekieta's fucking jacking off, oh God, looking like emaciated, and then the next day he gets his fucking house raided and he's, looking at 25 years. I mean, it's hard to respect yourself. I think frequent porn usage is way worse if you're not in a relationship and use porn as a coping mechanism. Why do you think it's worse if you're not in a relationship? Why wouldn't it be bad if you were in a relationship, Blaster? Yeah, I mean, look, pleasure-seeking behavior as a general rule, not always, not fucking, this isn't a hard science, but as a general rule, like super, I guess you could say selfish, but just general like pleasure-seeking behavior is usually something basically that helps you to cope with reality, right? Like, why do you eat chocolate when you're sad or whatever the fuck? Like, why do you jack off when you're lonely? Whatever it is, okay? You little coomer. It's because you want to cope with those, negative emotions or whatever, right? And so you supplement it with whatever the fuck little thing, okay? But yes, you need to acknowledge that this is a cope. All people have copes, okay? Just don't convince yourself, oh yes, it's healthy that, I spend fucking 4 hours a day masturbating, right? So this is the big thing and why I invoke 2Mad, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, okay? For those who know, that I was very intimately aware of 2Mad's decline, but the point is that, with 2Mad, it was, it seemed like quite a clear scenario where the guy would basically take Adderall in the fucking morning, probably would goon for 4 hours, whatever, and at night, to calm down, he'd fucking snort ketamine, okay? And it's like, so much of that is cope. So much of that. And when I was talking to him with Turkey Tom, it's like, damn, bro, like, I was incredibly amazed at the amount of cope, like, just pure lying to himself. But it's like also a lack of awareness, but it's like also lying to himself, just not wanting to face the fucking mirror, right? Just not wanting to accept the real, okay? I've already talked about the real many times. I won't give you the full shtick right now, but long story short, okay? Human experience, it is built fundamentally on lack, okay? Why do you desire something? Human behavior largely is based on desire, right? Like, you want something and you go to achieve it. Well, why do you desire things? Because foundationally, your psyche is built on lack. You lack things, so you desire them, okay? And so, when you interface with the world, okay, there are two kind of like things that you register, okay? There's the symbolic order and the imaginary order, okay? Symbolic order is more or less like all the things you see visually or that you hear or whatever, right? You hear a honk, you think car. You see a stop sign, you think stop, right? Language, that's all symbolic. This beautiful hat that you can buy only at gokamerch.com.
Shut up, Gokanaru. The real thing you should be advertising is our brand new Hubert NPCs. Did you enjoy the Sneeko video? Do you desire the love and companionship that comes with owning a Hubert of your own? Well, then you should head to gokamerch.com and sign up for the email list. It's easy. Just take a look at one of our satisfied customers.
You open it.
Oh! Oh, that's hard. A little bite! Wow, look at that smile. Making a friend has never been easier with our new Hubert NPCs. Sign up to the gokamerch.com email list today so that you'll be the first to be notified when Huberts go on sale. Only a limited quantity will be sold.
So sign up with the beautiful puppet master from the Sneeko video. Symbolic, okay? You see this and you're like, damn, that's a gangster right there. That's a fucking swagged out individual. Symbolic, okay? The imaginary order, right? Once again, your reality, what you fucking experience as like, you know, your life, it's built upon the symbolic order and the imaginary order, okay? So, the symbolic order is basically, again, the sounds, the sights, the things you interpret, you know, visually, audibly, whatever. The imaginary order is how you fill in the blanks, okay? Because, of course, your senses are not perfect, right? And it's effectively, the imaginary order is like when you fantasize, okay? Like if you're thinking nebulously about someone or something, well, what are you doing? You're invoking the imaginary order, okay? So, your reality, most people's reality, okay, let's be clear, is effectively built upon this idea that yes, you have the symbolic world that you're interacting with, and you have this imaginary world that you kind of, you know, paint a little bit of a beautiful narrative of like, oh yes, my life is heading towards something meaningful, right? Like, oh yes, this is all following like some kind of coherent timeline and whatever, you know, like, oh yeah, I'm addicted to this substance right now, but don't worry, at some point I'm going to, you know, escape this addiction, right? What is the real? You take this symbolic order and the imaginary order, which builds your reality. Okay? It's like a house. You create this little castle that you live in with your symbolism and your imagination. And the real is when that collapses. Okay? When that is disturbed. When the symbolic world fails you, or your imagination fails you, and you are confronted with a deeply disturbing encounter with the real, okay? So, for some people, it can be getting hit by a car, very, very, you know, sudden confrontation with the real. For Nick Rekieta, you know, on a micro level, whatever, it was probably the realization that he was streaming while he was, you know, or it was the cops raiding his home, okay? For many people, an encounter with the real, what's like a classic one, it would be like realizing that your partner is cheating on you, okay? That's like a pretty fucking serious encounter with the real, because your entire symbolic and imaginary world, the narrative that you've created where it's like, yes, my life is going somewhere meaningful, it just gets fucking destroyed for a bit. Okay, and that disconnect, that fucking experience of like what the fuck is going on. Okay, when people talk about like fight, flight, or freeze, that like almost instinctive fucking like sense of danger and uncertainty and like what the fuck is going on. That's the real. What is the real? It's the absence. Okay, it's the fucking absence. It is the confrontation with the abyss. The fact that this life you're living, it's actually really fucking fragile, and it's not really built on anything. Nothing is really, you know, guaranteed at all, right? It's like the floor, you get that feeling like the floor just fucking fell from beneath you, right? And so, why do I give you all this fucking shit? Okay, first of all, this is Lacanian psychoanalysis. I'm invoking, whatever. But why am I telling you all this shit? The reason is because this is why we cope. We cope largely to protect ourselves from confronting the real. We cope to protect ourselves from facing the absence, okay? The floor dropping from your feet, okay? And so, you know, this happens with people who are addicted to food. This happens with people who are addicted to cigarettes. This happens with people who are addicted to worse things, okay? Many things. You have to be careful, by the way, of the things you're addicted to that are easy to hide, right? This is why porn is kind of sinister, because on paper it is easy to hide that addiction. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody can tell you are a gooner. Like, let's just be clear. You're not hiding it well, but, you know, most people, it's pretty easy. But, yeah, the big thing that I'm basically saying is that when the real, you know, your symbolic and imaginary order, the castle you built, when that collapses and you're exposed to the abyss, well, what happens immediately after that? Your symbolic and imaginary order scramble. They fucking scramble to rebuild that castle stronger with more defenses, okay? To protect yourself from that ever happening again, because it's fucking traumatizing, okay? And so that's why a lot of the times, you know, people who have been abused or people who have just really had fucked up confrontations with the real, they will develop insanely fucking deep coping systems, okay? Like, it's really difficult to reach out to them in any meaningful way, because it's like, fuck, man. They have a really strong, fortified, symbolic and imaginary world that they've created, okay? And so that's why, really, in my mind, the biggest thing, if you are an addict, okay, just be aware. Don't cope. Don't convince yourself like, oh, this is, I'm good. I'm completely good. You know, just being aware of it will make you monitor, make sure you're actually good. You know what I mean? But that's the struggle of being a human, my friend. You know, we have lack, we have our desire, and fuck if it isn't fun to pursue our desires. Am I right? But, you know, just try to be safe. That's pretty much all I got. Everyone has their issues, their crosses to bear. If someone's cross infringes on another's life, then that's a problem. Yeah. What's the ideal relationship with the real? Should you be desensitized to it or protected from it or something else? Okay, the ideal relationship with the real is pretty simple. I have the mantra of face the mirror. Okay, our boy Night Owl Joe created this beautiful, you know, little drawing right here. Look at this shit. It's pretty cool. Face the mirror, okay? That's my, like, kind of mantra or whatever. Basically, the idea of it is try to see yourself for what you actually are, okay? Now, that's not actually easy for a lot of people, and for a lot of people, when they look in the mirror, they actually, like, hate themselves. So if you're starting at a point where you look in the mirror and you hate yourself, well, you got to try, basically, to dissociate emotion from what you are, if that makes any sense. This is not fucking easy. Not fucking easy, but trust me, it's really, like, I don't know. It's such a fucking, in my mind, like, almost necessary kind of practice, because you got to keep in mind, whether you die or not, if you don't die for a long time, you're going to age. And a lot of people, they can't fucking handle that, okay? Because they wrap up so much of their fucking self-worth in who they see in the mirror, okay? Now, that's not me saying, oh, just be okay with looking like shit or whatever. You can, whatever. It's whatever. But if you try to kind of appraise yourself in as objective a way as you can, okay, try to face the real in a voluntary sense, right? To see your fucking flaws, your blind spots for what they are. Well, by kind of self-appraising whatever, you can start to actually create protections against the real that are not cope. Does this make sense? Like, okay, for instance, whatever. It can start really fucking basic. Like, damn, I've been gooning all fucking week. Man, I got fucking twig ass arms, man. If I fuck, man, I want to become like a boxer or some shit. Like, I want to get into fights. Okay, you shouldn't want to get into fights, but like, man, I'm scared. I'm gonna get beat up or whatever the fuck. So, what would be a way to deal with that that's not cope? Go to the fucking gym. You know? I mean, you could say to an extent it's like cope, but it's like, you know, you're dealing with the inadequacy or whatever, right? What would be like a better fucking example? Look, and another thing to say is that one of the I don't know, one of the best ways to obviously quit an addiction is to be busy, right? It's to have other shit going on in your life. Like, it's not about fixating on like, oh my god, I'm fucking addicted to this. Like, it's not about fixating on quitting. It's about filling your life with other shit. You know what I mean? And again, the gym is like a very fucking foundational. Like, there's a reason everybody says it, bro. There's a reason. The gym is foundational for building back that trust in yourself, okay? Building back that respect for yourself. You know, when you fucking have a decent enough workout, right? You think to yourself, well, man, I'm gonna eat well so that my muscles will actually grow from this. It'll actually be a net positive, whatever. And it's like a positive feedback loop. You know what I mean? Whatever discipline, whatever you would say. But yeah, there's other things you could interpret as being like the real or whatever. It's like if you fail a fucking exam, which happens to a lot of people, okay? When you fail an exam, if you've never done that before, that's a confrontation with the real, okay? Especially if the narrative you had in your head was that I'm a smart kid, okay? A lot of people have this like disillusioning thing, especially when they, you know, enter college, whatever. So, how do you, you know, confront that in like a proper, healthy way, whatever? You try to set up systems so that you can actually like study and learn and fucking not fail. And again, right? It's not about hating yourself. It's not about just eating fucking chips and popcorn and watching Netflix to cope. Although you can do that, but just be aware that's cope, right? Like, yeah, it's about basically trying to actually provide a competent way to avoid that confrontation with the real happening again. You know what I mean? If you get in a car accident and you don't have your seatbelt on, it could be as simple as swallowing your fucking pride and wearing your seatbelt. You know? Cope means finding something else. Interesting. I wish I was someone who loved exercising. Yeah, I mean, it's a mindset thing, but at the end of the day, one of the easiest ways in my mind to find yourself regularly exercising is literally just to have an accountability fucking friend who actually does it. Does that make sense? This is another whole thing, but like, you need friends. You fucking need friends, bro. You fucking need friends. You listening to me? Oh, you're not taking me seriously enough, bro. You need friends. But yeah, you need friends. Friends keep you accountable. And yeah, maybe you'll try and hide your addictions from them, but it gets harder when you have friends who actually give a fuck about you. That was another fucking massive fucking L from Too Mad. No friends moment, bro. Oh, yeah. This is my friend Gerald. Say hi to Gerald, everyone. Hey, Gerald. Yum. Gerald's fucking, like, eyes are in my fucking throat, bro. Don't follow my example. Don't eat your friends. As Gerald. It's okay, he'll still talk to me in my dreams. You all seem to hate porn. Corn urd. I don't hate that. I don't hate any of that shit. But it does help you cope with your reality. Right? Right? That's the purpose of it. It supplements, kind of helps you cope with your reality. Right? Very few people actually use it, like, educationally. Right? You tell me. I've never masturbated, so I don't know. Best way to learn about sex is having sex. What? Anna, would you shut the fuck up with these esoteric truths? You're gonna get my fucking channel banned. Just read a good book and you'll know everything about... Thank you, Sped. I do hate porn. I'm a porn hater. I did not see this coming from you. What is, Claire, what did we not see coming? Porn exists because we live in a pornographic society. Yo, the chat's getting fucking based! No, I'm just kidding. Anyone saying that it's bad to learn about sex by having a spouse and exploring together is coping. You only think it's weird because porn brain. No, I don't think that's bad. I just would also, you know, it's like there's a lot. You need to, I don't know, there's people who try to take advantage of that shit, like whatever, I'm not going to make any grand statement, but Baudrillard. Yeah, Baudrillard views, you know, porn as simulation, okay? He does not really approve, is the vibe that I got. But yeah. Any way to cope with being terminally online and being out of sync with other people? Well, yeah, just you gotta fucking make the effort to find real world friends. Like, that's the number one way. Even if the friends, no, you want good friends, but like, even if the friends aren't normies, that's fine. But like, bro, you want real world friends, okay? And the older you get, the harder it is to fucking find them, okay? Friendship is formed over time, all right? So you need to be proactive about finding fucking friends. This is something I've been advocating for over 2 years now. And it's because in the worst moments of my life, and some of the best, it's been because I've had fucking friends to supplement the experience. You know what I mean? Very important shit. But anyway. But where do you find them? That's kind of up to you to decide, bro. It's a more of a question of what do you like, right? You don't need to have something necessarily in common with your friend, but it'll make it easier. If you like books, go to a fucking library. I know it's weird to talk to people at a library, but they have book clubs at libraries where you actually can talk to people. You know what I mean? And yeah, it sounds fucking corny to meet people at a book club, but it's like better than nothing. Who else is going to go to a fucking book club? Probably people who want to make friends. I don't know. But yeah, this isn't fucking, you know, advice hour, so. People scare me, though. Okay, well, that's cope. Live in fear? Or achieve greatness? You can only do one of the two. You either live in fear or you achieve greatness. I know which one I'm picking. It's my nose. I have like 2 friends and a brother, yet I feel so fortunate to have the... Well, yes, you're fucking... Yeah, that's still better than the vast majority of people. Look, man. There's a difference between having friends and having real friends. You know what I mean? Like, acquaintances are not friends. But yeah. If you can have at least 2 real friends in your life, you are 10 fucking times more, like powerful, better off, whatever you'd say, than if you have 0. So, directly into the next drama, I guess you could say. And what is that drama? Well, guess what? It's me doing a follow-up on Nick Rekieta. So, last time, we talked about basically how Nick Rekieta apparently had a bit of a gooner moment. He apparently was donated a super chat of some sort that came with some fat furry fart fetish, you know, material, and he started gooning on stream. Okay, blood was literally fucking. Oh, why is the camera still on? Turns out there's conspiracy theories that was actually a joke. That Nick Rekieta was not actually gooning on stream. Now, if that was a joke, that dude is quite a fucking actor, okay? The rabbit hole, the Nick Rekieta rabbit hole goes so deep, and I almost don't care enough to go all the way into it, okay? But we might try to do a, preliminary fucking evaluation, okay? About a year back, a friend of his had some texts leaked where she told him about how his wife was pressuring him to start swinging, and he was building her a sex room, and also Kayla hits Nick. God fucking damn it. The rabbit hole is so goddamn deep, and I almost don't want to get deep into it, bro. Because it's such a fucking mess, You ever see just a mess? Just a gross mess, and you're just like, okay, bro. Just pack that, just clean that shit up. I'm going to pretend I didn't see that. You know what I mean? That's how I feel with the Nick Rekieta Rekieta shit. Okay? Man, the search warrant for Nick Rekieta's house is fucking bleak. Kids wearing the same clothes for days, going to school hungry, both Nick and Kayla losing weight, lethargic, track marks on Nick's arms. I can forgive the sex stuff, but the drug/neglect shit is infuriating. It was reported that Nicholas is a social media blogger, and he and his wife Kayla had befriended hosts from a different local social media blogger. Those individuals were identified as Aaron Michael. Okay. Your affiant knows personally these are personalities of the Steel Toe Morning Show, which used to be in St. Cloud MN Radio. However, as of recent years, the show has been on a social media entertainment. It was reported that the Imholtes may have been staying with the Rekietas, and the home was in disarray and cluttered. It was reported from a church preschool teacher that the children had complained of being hungry, not being fed, and wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days at a time, and would start to smell. Nicholas was reported to being lethargic and appeared high or drugged driving a car around. Another individual advised the reported that Nicholas will walk out randomly during sermons at church and have noticed behavioral changes in him. It was alleged Kayla looks anorexic, and Nicholas has lost a substantial amount of weight recently. One individual described Nicholas of having injection or track marks on his arms. The reporter reiterated concerns for possible neglect and or controlled substance use within the home. Wow. That's not looking good. Okay. Rekieta's daughter texting her parents swinging partners for help because mom and dad were fighting.
LL with $5 says, you mentioned that Nick and Kayla would have pretty nasty fights. Were the kids present for these? April and I did get a message from one of their children one time saying mom and dad are fighting. They're yelling really loud. And I think April and I went to their... No, I don't think April and I went to their house that night. But I think we did call and try to talk to them about it. And then we were Facebook messaging with their daughter, just going like, just everything's okay. Just, stay in your room, whatever. April and I kind of handled it during the good days.
There's chocolate milk all over my wall.
As it were. But yeah, they'd have some fucking knockdown dragouts. They'd have some fucking good ones.
Jesus.
I mean, in a way, the fact that they're still married is kind of impressive. I mean, we see the marriage aids that they use. I mean, and I'm guilty of it too, but, mine didn't survive it. LL with $5 said,
what a fucking weird. These people are just like, I don't care, man. Like, I don't want to, it's not that I don't care. It's that, do I want to really explore this shit? Yeesh.